Jayson Tatum has returned from his injury, and honestly he's returned a lot sooner than most of us had thought, so I have decided that we're going to rebuild the Boston Celtics with Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum. And at the time of this recording, our team is the number 2 seed with 43 wins and 21 losses. Jaylen Brown has done a phenomenal job at keeping things afloat while Jayson Tatum was out with his injury. And now here is our lineup. So in the starting lineup, we have ourselves Derek White, Jordan Walsh, Jaylen Brown, Jayson Tatum, and Quetta. And then off the bench, we have Peyton Pritchard, Vucevic, Sam Hauser, and Luka Garza. And now let's simulate the next few games and see how our team does. So the first game of this video is up against the San Antonio Spurs, and we do end up losing to them 136-120. Tatum played amazing, so did Jaylen Brown, but our defense was pretty awful. The next game is up against the defending champions, and we go on to defeat the OKC Thunder here 133-125. Jaylen Brown dropped 26, so did Tatum, and Jordan Walsh with 21 points. We should also be able to defeat the Washington Wizards, and we do defeat them 142-108. Tatum dropped 29, Jaylen Brown with 26, and Derek White with 18. Let's take a look at the system proficiency. So we are rolling with a 4-star overall system proficiency balanced under Joe Mazzulla. And before we simulate until the end of this season, we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. So if you're new and you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button and also drop a thumbs up on this video. And here are the awards at the end of this season. Nikola Jokic goes on to win an MVP, Cooper Flag Rookie of the Year, Collier 6-Man, Wemby Defensive Player, Buzelis Most Improved, Edwards Clutch Player, Mark wins Coach of the Year, and we go on to win Executive of the Year. We do get ourselves Jaylen Brown on All NBA First Team. Let's see if we have any more awards, and it looks like we do not. But that is alright because we ended this season being the number 2 seed. We won a total of 56 games, losing only 26. And before we start simulating the playoffs, let's take a look at the player stats and see how our team has been doing. So our leading scorer was Jaylen Brown, averaging 28 points per game on really good shooting splits. And then we had Tatum after his return. He's been averaging 27 points per game, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block on really good shooting splits. 54% from the field and 47% from the 3-point line. And so far, Tatum has played a total of 20 games this season. 17 from Derek White, 17 from Pritchard, and 14 from Vucevic, but I can't lie, majority of these points are before he joined our team. Ever since he's joined us, he's been pretty horrible. He's only averaging 9 points per game while shooting 42% from the field. And now it's time for the playoffs, and it looks like in the first round we will be taking on the Atlanta Hawks. They have themselves CJ McConnell, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Dyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson, and Okongwu. They also have Kuminga coming off of their bench unit. Let's see how things go here. Game number 1 will go to the Hawks. We lose here 125-115. Brown had 30, 20-point double-double from Tatum, but sadly we do fall short. Let's see if we can win game 2 to tie up this series, and yes we can. We do end up winning here 139-127. Tatum goes off for a 38-point double-double, Jaylen Brown with 30. Game number 3 will end up going to the Hawks. They win here 145-111. Our defense has been pretty awful so far. Pritchard was our leading scorer here, and we do fall short. Let's see if we can tie up the series, and no we can't. So it looks like the Hawks do go up 3-1 against us, winning game 4 137-120. Jaylen Brown did play amazing, so did Tatum, but sadly we still fall short, allowing the Hawks to score 137 points. It will be pretty difficult for us to come back from this 3-1 deficit, but it is possible. Let's jump into Simcats for this next game where we will have home court advantage on our side. And so far the Hawks do have the lead, and it looks like we are going to be eliminated in the first round of the playoffs to the Atlanta Hawks. Brown had 28, 27 from Tatum, but once again our defense was absolutely horrible. So if there's anything we've learned so far, it is our defense is going to need a lot of upgrades this offseason. Let's go ahead and simulate past the playoffs and see who goes on to win the title. It will be the Timberwolves taking on the New York Knicks, and the New York Knicks go on to sweep the Timberwolves, with Jalen Brunson winning Finals MVP. And even though we are still before the free agency day, we're able to give Jordan Walsh a contract extension. So I'm going to go ahead and extend him for the next 4 seasons, paying him about $7 million annually, and he goes on to happily accept. In the 2026 NBA draft, we have ended up with a 27th overall pick in the first round and the 15th overall pick in the second round. So let's go ahead and simulate till the NBA draft and see which players we will be drafting. The Utah Jazz have the first overall pick and they go ahead and take Darren Peterson. The Wizards have the second overall pick, they take AJ DeBonsa. Let's see who the Grizzlies will be taking, and it looks like they take Cameron Boozer. Simulate to our pick and see which players are left. We do have 22 trade offers. Is there anything here that we need? I don't think so. Majority of the trades are for future first round picks. And with our pick, I'm going to go ahead and draft Jay Mogbo. He has himself a B+ post defense and an A rebounding. Maybe he can end up developing into our backup center going into the future. We also have 1 second round pick, and with that pick, I'm going to go ahead and draft the highest overall player, and that is Magoon Gueth. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce his name, but we're going to go ahead and draft him anyways. And both of our rookies are a 71 overall. I don't know which one will be a part of our rotation going into the future, or if even one of them will be, but we're going to go ahead and pick up the contract for both of them. Team player options, we will bring back Neemias Queta. Let Baylor go. We don't really need him a part of this rotation. Well, actually, we're going to go ahead and pick up the team option. We could possibly trade him for a first round pick. Qualifying offers, I'm not sure if we need to re-sign anyone here in free agency. Let's take a look. The only player here is Vucevic. We do have some money to play with here in free agency, and what I'm going to do is go ahead and give Quentin Grimes a contract offer. We're going to offer him a 4-year deal, paying him about $4.5 million annually. The reason I'm not going for Luke Dort is he's usually pretty awful here in 2K Simulation. He shoots about 30% from 3-point line, so I don't want to bring him in. And I'm also going to give Vucevic a contract. We'll offer him a 2-year deal, paying him about $10 million. We won't be keeping him, we will be using him in a trade, which is why I'm offering him a little bit more money. And it looks like both Quentin Grimes and Vucevic accept their contract. And we have an insane trade offer. Either Nikola Vucevic and the 2 rookies we drafted in Trade Finder, and the Atlanta Hawks are offering us Zachary Risichet and a first round pick. The former first overall pick in the 2024 draft could be a part of our team. And honestly, I don't think we should pass up on this trade offer, so let's go ahead and pull off this trade. And since we traded away our backup center, I went ahead and offered Andre Drummond a 2-year contract on a minimum. Let's see if he goes on to accept, and it looks like we do land ourselves to Andre Drummond as a brand new backup center. And the final trade of this offseason I will be pulling off is for a first round pick. We're going to be sending the Memphis Grizzlies Baylor. In return, we get the LA Lakers 2027 unprotected first rounder. And now here we are at the start of this season with a new and upgraded 9-man rotation. So in our starting lineup, we have Derek White. I did move Jaylen Brown to be our starting shooting guard. Risichet will be the starting small forward. Then we have Tatum and Queta, and then off the bench we have Peyton Pritchard, Grimes, Drummond, and Jordan Walsh. I believe this season our team's defense should be a lot better than it was the season prior. Let's go ahead and simulate the first week of this season and see how it goes. The first game is up against the Dallas Mavericks. We defeat them 156 to 146. Jaylen Brown had 35, Tatum with 34, Pritchard as our 6th man drops 20 points, 18 from White, and Risichet in his Boston Celtics debut dropping 14 points. Can we also go on to defeat the Brooklyn Nets? Let's see, and yes we can. In this game we score 164 points, holy. Tatum dropping 45 points, 11 rebounds, and 8 assists. Jaylen Brown with 34 and 10, 24 from Risichet, and 22 from Derek White. If we can continue this type of offense, we are going to be absolutely unstoppable. And this season we will be rolling with a 4.5-star overall system proficiency balanced under Joe Mazzulla. I'm now going to start simulating here until the trade deadline, but if there's any trades to be made, I'll make sure to stop here at the trade deadline to show you all. And this season our team has made it to the NBA Cup Finals, where we're going to be taking on the San Antonio Spurs. Let's jump into Simcast and see if we can defeat them here. The Spurs will have home court advantage. And so far we do have the lead by quite a bit, and it looks like we will go on to win the NBA Cup Finals 149 to 117, Tatum dropping 40 points. 23 from Jaylen Brown, and 19 from Pritchard. And Jayson Tatum goes on to win the NBA Cup MVP, averaging 31 points per game. We are stopped here at the trade deadline, and I would love to upgrade our backup center position, and the Bucks are offering us Bobby Portis Jr., who this season is averaging 12 points per game while shooting 42% from the three-point line. Sam Hauser has not been a part of our rotation. Andre Drummond has been alright as a backup center, but Bobby Portis will be a lot better in my opinion, so we're going to go ahead and pull off this trade. For contract extension, Peyton Watson, we will be re-signing. I'm going to go ahead and give him a 2-year deal, paying him $10 million annually, and it looks like Quetta also wants to sign a contract. We're going to pay him $7 million annually on a 2-year contract extension, with which he happily accepts. At the end of this season, Victor Wembanyama goes on to win an MVP, Cameron Boozer, Rookie of the Year, Jalen Green, 6-man, Wemby also wins DPOY, Zachary Risacher goes on to win Most Improved Player, let's go. He ended the season averaging 15 points per game. Nikola Jokic, Clutch Player, our head coach, Joe Mazzulla wins Coach of the Year, and we also go on to win Executive of the Year. Let's take a look at all NBA awards, and we do get ourselves Jayson Tatum on all NBA second team, and it looks like no Jaylen Brown this time around, which is kind of a surprise. And we do not get anyone here on all defensive team either, but that is alright because we ended this season being the number 1 seed, winning a total of 67 games and losing only 15. We had ourselves a phenomenal season. Hopefully we're able to continue this regular season success into the playoffs. Before that, let's take a look at the player stats for the regular season. So our leading scorer this time around was none other than Jayson Tatum, averaging 28 points per game, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, half a block on 50, 40, 85 shooting splits. Jaylen Brown was averaging 25, 16 from Pritchard, 15 from Risacher, 14 from Derek White, and 11 from Bobby Portis Jr. And now in the first round of the playoffs, we will be taking on the Brooklyn Nets. They have themselves Kobe White, Yegor Demon, Michael Porter Jr., Noah Clowney, and Nick Claxton. Hopefully we do not end up losing here in the first round once again. Game number 1 does go to the Brooklyn Nets, but game 2 we do end up winning here 132 to 121. Both of the Jays dropped over 30 points here in game 2. Game number 3 will also go to our team, and we also go on to win game 4. In game 4, Jaylen Brown led the way here, dropping 36 points, Tatum with 24, and now can we gentlemen sweep the Brooklyn Nets? And we do not. They do end up defeating us here in game 5, 141 to 109. I'm not sure how, but they are giving us a little bit of a challenge here. Game number 6 does end up going to us, and we end up eliminating the Brooklyn Nets. Tatum dropped 35, 25 from Brown, and 25-point double-double from Bobby Portis Jr. Let's take a look at how Tatum has been doing so far. He's averaging 32 points per game, and Jaylen Brown is averaging 28 points per game. And now in the second round of the playoffs, we will be taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. They have themselves James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Tyson, Evan Mobley, and Jarrett Allen, and it looks like they also have Nikola Vucevic coming off of their bench unit. This series will most likely be tough. Let's see how it goes. Game number 1 does go to us. Derek White leading the way here with 24, 24 from Tatum as well. Game number 2, we also go on to win, this time Tatum dropping a 30-point double-double. Game 3, we also go on to win, and we go on to sweep the Cleveland Cavaliers. That is pretty insane. The Brooklyn Nets pushed us all the way to a game 6, and they were a playing team with no all-stars on their team. It looks like we have now made it to the conference finals, where we're going to be taking on the Detroit Pistons. They have themselves Cade Cunningham, Luke Dort, Asar Thompson, Ron Holland, and Jalen Duren, as well as Anthony Simons coming off of their bench. Let's see if we can go on to defeat the Pistons as well. Game number 1 does go to the Pistons. They win here by 20 points. Game number 2 will also go to the Pistons. They win here in overtime by 9 points. Let me see if there's any changes we need to make to our roster. I'm also going to come up with a defensive coach game plan, and then we'll advance to game 3. Alright, this is absolutely insane. Cade Cunningham here in the playoffs is averaging 45 points per game. I've never seen anything like this. This is the first time I've seen a player average over 40 points per game in the playoffs. And I have decided to make a lineup change. So Quentin Grimes will be the brand new starting shooting guard for this series. He has been playing amazing, shooting 50% from the 3-point line, whereas Risacher was shooting 33%. So we pushed him to the bench unit. Jaylen Brown will be back at the small forward position, and let's see if that's going to make a change here. We'll jump into Simcast for Game 3, where the Pistons have home court advantage. So far, we do have the lead, and it looks like we do go on to win 133-129. It was a close game, but thankfully we do get the win. Jaylen Brown 36, 23 from Derek White, and 16 from Quentin Grimes. The Pistons are still up 2-1. Hopefully we're able to tie up the series here in Game 4. The Pistons will have home court advantage. And so far we do have the lead, and it looks like we go on to win, once again scoring 133 points. Tatum dropping 25, 23 from Brown, 21 from Pritchard. And Quentin Grimes has been playing amazing as our starting shooting guard so far. Now the series is tied at 2-2 apiece. Let's see if we can go up 3-2. We will have home court advantage on our side, and so far the Pistons do have the lead. It looks like this time they score 133 points, beating us here by 10 points. Jaylen Brown had 37, 25 from Tatum, but we do end up falling short. If we lose here, the whole series is over and we will be eliminated. The Pistons will have home court advantage, and so far we do have the lead, and it looks like we do go on to win 155-131. Tatum dropping 52 points, Jaylen Brown with 37. It is time for Game 7. Let's see what happens. The Minnesota Timberwolves have already made it to the NBA Finals. We do have home court advantage for Game 7, which should hopefully work out in our favor. Let's see what happens. We do have the lead so far. It's still a pretty close battle, back and forth. We may have to jump in. Let's slow this down a little bit and see what happens. Tie game, 3 remaining. 1 minute remaining. We're up by 1. Let's go ahead and jump in and see what happens. I have subbed in our starters, and I just learned something insane. Their boy, Cade Cunningham, has fouled out in 23 minutes, and they also have another player fouled out, and that is Jusuf Nurkic. That is huge for our team. I have subbed in our starters. I'm not sure if they're going to sub in themselves, but let's go ahead and see what happens here. Quetta is at the free throw line. 2 free throws. The first one, he ends up missing. Now our starters will be coming into the game. Quetta with the second free throw. Hopefully he can go on to make this, and he does end up making his second free throw, and now we're up by 2 points. Once again, thankfully they don't have Cade Cunningham in this game. But they do have Jalen Duren. He almost had a wide open shot there, but thankfully Quetta fouled him. Allow him to work for his points. I'm not sure how good of a free throw shooter Duren is, and he does go on to make his first. Hopefully he at least misses 1 out of the 2 free throws. And his second free throw is a miss, which still means we are up by 1 point. Thank God. Jaylen Brown coming up with the ball. Let's see what he does here. He's guarded by Ron Holland, crossing him up, and he goes for the layup, and he misses. Ron Holland with the rebound up to Luke Dort, guarded by Quentin Grimes. Anthony Simons, Luke Dort with a 3-pointer, and he misses. Jayson Tatum with the rebound. Let's go. I would like for one of our teammates to get a point here. Let's see what Brown does with the ball. He is trying to drive up on Ron Holland once again. Ron Holland, oh god, Ron Holland makes Jaylen Brown turn the ball over, and now it is Pistons ball. Alright, now the ball is about to be inbounded by the Detroit Pistons. Let's see what they do here. Amen Thompson to Anthony Simons, guarded by Zachary Risacher. He's trying to cross up Risacher here, but Risacher is a pretty good defender, so I think he's got this. And Anthony Simons out to Luke Dort. Jalen Duren, and oh god, Jalen Duren with a wide open slam dunk. Horrible defense from Quetta. We are now down by 1 point, and honestly, that was horrible by Quetta. If we lose this game because of him, I'm definitely trading him in the offseason. Wide open Derek White with a 3-pointer, and he hits it with 1 second remaining. We are up by 2 points. Derek White with a clutch 3-pointer. Let's go. And that is what I'm talking about. That was one of the biggest clutch 3-pointers I have seen in my life, in 2K simulation at least. Let's see what happens. Luke Dort with a 3-pointer, and he misses, which means we are going to the NBA Finals. And our team is the Eastern Conference champions. Let's go. Jayson Tatum holding the trophy, and it looks like Tatum also goes on to win Eastern Conference Finals MVP. And I still cannot get over that Derek White three-pointer. That was huge. That three-pointer literally made us come all the way to the NBA Finals. Anthony Edwards winning Western Conference Finals MVP, Jayson Tatum Eastern Conference Finals MVP. I would like to take a look at the box score for Game 7. So Jaylen Brown dropped 41 points, Derek White had 14 points, 20 from Jayson Tatum. And now in the NBA Finals, we will be taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves, who have themselves Dante DiVincenzo, Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, Julius Randle, and Naz Reid, as well as Rudy Gobert coming off of their bench. They do have themselves a pretty stacked bench, I'm not gonna lie. Let's see what happens here. Game number 1 will go to us. Tatum dropping 33, 26 from Jaylen Brown. Game number 2 does end up going to the Timberwolves. Tatum had 18 points here, but no one really led our team in scoring. What about in Game 3? Game 3 will also go to the Timberwolves. They win here 139 to 109. I am going to come up with the defensive coach game plan, and then we'll advance to Game 4. We have now come up with a defensive coach game plan. We're down 2-1. Let's see if we can top the series here in Game 4. Timberwolves do have home court advantage, and so far they have the lead, but we do take it back from them, and it looks like we do go on to win 141 to 134. Let's go. Jayson Tatum dropping a 29-point double-double, 23 from Pritchard, and 22 from Jaylen Brown. And even though we won that game, Anthony Edwards had himself 60 points on us. That is insane. And now the series is tied at 2-2 apiece. Let's jump into Simcast, where we will have home court advantage for Game 5. And so far we do have the lead. Let's see if we can keep it. And it looks like the Timberwolves take the lead from us in the 4th quarter and end up defeating us 133 to 128. Jayson Tatum with 33, 29 from Brown, 17 from Reese Shea, but we do end up falling short. And now the Timberwolves will have home court advantage for this next game. Can we push it to a Game 7? Let's see. We are down by 4 points, 7 minutes remaining, back and forth battle. They are up by 6 points, and it looks like we will be eliminated here in the NBA Finals. And that truly does suck. We made it all the way to the NBA Finals just to lose to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards goes on to win Finals MVP, but don't you worry, I'm going to pull off a lot of trades this offseason and make sure our team is championship contenders next playoffs. Here are the player stats for our team. 23 games played, the leading scorer was Jayson Tatum, averaging 30 points per game, 26 from Brown, and 16 from Peyton Pritchard. It says that we have ourselves 2 lottery picks. Hopefully these picks are not lottery protected. Let's go ahead and skip to the lottery results and see where we end up. So we do end up with the 7th overall pick and the 11th overall pick, which means they were not lottery protected. Let's go. And I have an idea. We don't need rookies on our team. We need win now players. So what I'm going to try doing is packaging our 1st round picks and go upgrade some positions. And the first trade of this offseason we're going to be pulling off is with the Indiana Pacers, where we send them Derek White and the 11th overall pick. In return, we bring in Andrew Nembhard and Ivica Zubac. The next trade we're going to be pulling off is to upgrade the backup center position. We're going to be trading away Quetta, the 30th overall pick, and a swap worse for Isaiah Hartenstein, and we also get the Lakers 2030 first round pick. And the final trade I'm going to be pulling off is sending away our 7th overall pick to the Dallas Mavericks for 2 future first rounders. We don't need any rookies on this team once again, so might as well just stack up on some future draft capital. And team player options, of course, we're going to pick up a team option on Zachary Reese. We will pick it up on Hugo, and it looks like Bobby Portis Jr. accepts his player option. Qualifying offers, we don't need to re-sign anyone here from the looks of things, and it looks like majority, well, all of our players are locked up on long-term contracts. And since Bobby Portis picked up his player option, we don't really need him on our team. We already have Zubac and Hartenstein, so I'm going to try and trade him away to the Houston Rockets, where we send them Bobby Portis Jr. and Quentin Grimes in return for Tari Eason, and it looks like the Houston Rockets do go on to accept. And now we're ready for this season, and here is the starting lineup. So we have ourselves Andrew Nembhard, Jaylen Brown, Zachary Reese, Jayson Tatum, and Zubac. And then off the bench, we have Peyton Pritchard, Isaiah Hartenstein, Tari Eason, and Jordan Walsh. Let's go ahead and simulate the first few games. The first game of this season is up against Minnesota Timberwolves, the same team that defeated us in the finals, and we go on to win here 122 to 108. Jayson Tatum dropping 32 and 11, 25 from Brown, and 14 from Tari Eason. We also defeat the Cooper Flag and the Dallas Mavericks, yes we can, 143 to 127. 34 from Tatum. Zachary Risacher also progressed a ton this offseason, so he should be playing a lot better than the previous season. We have won both of our first 2 games of this season. Let's see if we can make that 3 out of 3, and yes we do, scoring 162 points against the Hornets. Tatum with 35, 28 from Brown, and 25 from Risacher. In this season, our system proficiency has gotten better than the previous season. We will be rolling with a 4.5 star overall system proficiency balanced under Joe Mazzulla. And now I'm going to start simulating here until the end of this season. If there's any trades to be made, I'll stop here at the trade deadline to show you all. And at the end of this season, Cade Cunningham goes on to win an MVP, Christian Collins Rookie of the Year, Jonathan Kuminga 6-man, Wemby DPOY, Michael Brown Jr. Most Improved, Luka Doncic Clutch Player, our head coach, Joe Mazzulla once again winning Coach of the Year, and we also win Executive of the Year. All NBA awards, we do get ourselves Jayson Tatum on All NBA Second Team, and it looks like that will be it. We do not get ourselves anyone on All Defensive Team either, but that is alright. Once again, we ended this season as the number 1 seed, winning 71 games and losing only 11. And let's take a look at the player stats before we start simulating the playoffs. So in the regular season, our leading scorer was Jayson Tatum, this time around averaging 29 points per game, 8 rebounds, 5 assists on 50, 40, 89 shooting splits. Jaylen Brown was averaging 23 points per game. Risacher had an amazing season, averaging 17 points per game on 50, 40, 74 shooting splits. 14 from Peyton Pritchard, 14 from Nembhard, and 11 from Avia Zubac. Now in the first round of the playoffs, we will be taking on the Miami Heat. They have themselves Kasparis Giannis, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Tyler Hero, DeMar DeRozan, Andrew Wiggins, and Bam Adebayo, and this is their bench unit. Let's see how things go here. Game number 1 will go to us. Tatum dropping 58 points here in the first game of the playoffs. Let's go. Game number 2 will also go to us. Tatum this time with a 34-point double-double. We also win game 3 and we go on to sweep the Miami Heat. So far here in the playoffs, Tatum is averaging 37 points per game. Jaylen Brown is averaging 23, 17, and 7 from Andrew Nembhard. And now in the second round of the playoffs, we will be taking on the Orlando Magic, and they have Jalen Suggs, Desmond Bane, Franz Wagner, Paulo Banchero, and Andre Drummond, and this is their bench unit. They do have a pretty stacked bench, the same as us. Let's see how things go. Game number 1 will go to us. Tatum with 40 points, 11 rebounds, and 9 assists, 22 from Nembhard. Game number 2 will also go to us. Tatum dropping 39, 29 from Jaylen Brown, and 13 from Risacher. Game 3, we are up 3-0 now. Tatum with a 34-point double-double, and we go on to sweep the Orlando Magic. And now we have made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. We're either going to be taking on the Pistons or the Raptors, and it will be the Detroit Pistons. They still have themselves Cade Cunningham, Luke Dort. It looks like they may have traded for Jimmy Butler. They have Ron Holland and Jalen Duren, who's now a 90 overall. Game number 1 will go to us. Nembhard leading the way here with 28 points. Game 2 will also go to us never mind. Game 3 does not go to us. We do end up losing game 3 here to the Pistons. And Cade Cunningham drops 62 points on us. Bro is averaging 45 points per game once again. I have adjusted our coach game plan. That's because we were still rolling with the same coach game plan, but ever since then we have made a lot more trades. So let's jump into Simcast here and see if we can go up 3-1. The Pistons will have home court advantage for game 5. But we do have the lead by quite a bit, and it looks like we will be winning this game 141 to 105. Tatum dropping 31 points, Jaylen Brown with 30, and 21 from Risacher. In this game, we played really good defense here on Cade Cunningham, holding him to only 5 of 15 from the field, and 4 of 12 for DeAndre Hunter as well. All we gotta do now is win one more game, and then we'll go to the NBA Finals, and we end up gentlemen sweeping the Detroit Pistons. In Game 5, Tatum dropped 35 and 30 from Nembhard. It looks like we're either going to be taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves or the Pelicans, and it will be, once again, Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves. Ant-Man goes on to win Western Conference Finals MVP, Jayson Tatum Eastern Conference Finals MVP. And let's take a look at the Timberwolves roster. And oh my god, somehow they ended up with Derek White as their starting point guard. We did not trade Derek White here. I'm pretty sure, yeah, so we traded Derek White for Andrew Nembhard, but it looks like the Indiana Pacers may have sent the Minnesota Timberwolves Derek White, and this makes them even more OP than they were before. Now in their starting lineup, they have Derek White, Anthony Edwards, McDaniels, Julius Randle, and Naz Reid. Okay, this changes a lot of things here. Derek White as a starting point guard is definitely going to make the Timberwolves a lot better than they were last season, but it looks like they did lose Rudy Gobert in that trade as well. Let's see how things go here. Game number 1 will go to us. Tatum with 27, 26 from Pritchard, and 22 from Jaylen Brown. Game number 2 does end up going to the Timberwolves. Tatum dropped 46 points, but we do lose in overtime. Game 3 does end up going to our team. Tatum dropping 31 and 15. Jaylen Brown with 25. Game 4 will also go to us, and now we're up 3-1. We scored 160 points. Tatum dropping 33, 30 from Ricochet, and 23 from Jaylen Brown. And now all we gotta do is win one more game, and then we'll have won the Celtics a championship. We do have home court advantage for Game 5. Let's see what happens. And so far we do have the lead. We are up here, but now they're up by 2 points, 3 minutes remaining. Let's slow this down and jump in at 1:30. And now they are up by 4 points, 1:30 remaining. Let's go ahead and jump in and see what happens. And it looks like 2 of our starters have fouled out, Jayson Tatum and Zubac, which is why in the 4th quarter we are probably struggling big time. I'm going to go ahead and sub in Tari Eason at that power forward position, Isaiah Hartenstein at the center position, and let's see if we can win this game. Do we have a timeout? We do have 1 timer remaining, so I'm going to go ahead and call that and allow the substitutions to take place. Alright, so the ball is about to be inbounded, I believe by Jaylen Brown. Okay, no, that's Tari Eason. Into Andrew Nembhard, back to Tari Eason. Let's see what we do here. Jaylen Brown has a ball guarded by Anthony Edwards, and Jaylen Brown goes up for the layup and he makes it. We are now down by 2 points, 129 to 127. Anthony Edwards guarded by Jaylen Brown. Let's see what he does here. Hopefully Brown is able to lock him up, and yes, he does. Julius Randle goes up for a pretty horrible 3-point shot, which is good for us because he missed that. Now we have Jaylen Brown coming up with the ball guarded by Anthony Edwards. Trying to drive up with it. He is being locked down by Anthony Edwards' defense here. Hopefully he can do something. He's going up for a pretty tough shot and he misses. And now we have Anthony Edwards out to DiVincenzo to a wide open Naz Reid, and thankfully Naz Reid missed that shot because that was a wide open 3-point shot we gave him. Jaylen Brown with the ball driving up, guarded once again by Anthony Edwards to Isaiah Hartenstein. Ricochet, let's see what Ricochet does here. And he does not go up for the 3-point shot to Andrew Nembhard. He was kind of wide open, but he does miss. Tari Eason comes up to clean up the board and he slam dunks it. 129, 10 seconds remaining. And that was insane. Tari Eason came up there to clean up the board with a slam dunk, tying up the game at 129 apiece. Let's see what happens here. 10 seconds remaining. Anthony Edwards with the ball. He's driving up and he was double teamed out to DiVincenzo. And DiVincenzo hits a wide open 3-pointer. There is 3 seconds remaining. One of our players is going to have to hit a clutch 3-pointer. Let's see what happens. The ball is being inbounded by Tari Eason. Who will he pass it out to? Ricochet, maybe Ricochet, and it goes to Ricochet. He goes for the 3-pointer and he misses. Sadly, we do end up losing this game. And in that game, Jaylen Brown had 44 points. Sadly, Jayson Tatum did end up fouling out after having a 13-point triple-double, and the same for Zubac. I believe if they stayed in, we could have won this game. And now it will be going to a game 6. Let's see if we can win this and close things out. The Timberwolves will have home court advantage on their side. We do start off the first quarter really strong. It looks like we will be winning ourselves this game, 140 to 102, winning the Celtics a championship. Jayson Tatum dropping 46 points, Jaylen Brown with 29 and 14 from Pritchard. And just like that, we have won the Boston Celtics the championship, with Jayson Tatum winning Finals MVP, averaging 33 points per game, 10 rebounds, 6 assists on 50-50-80 shooting splits. And that is absolutely amazing. Before I end out this video, let me show you guys the player stats for our team. So in the playoffs, our leading scorer was Jayson Tatum, averaging 33 points per game, 25 from Jaylen Brown, 18 from Ricochet, and 15 from Pritchard. Nembhard played absolutely amazing as well. In the NBA Finals, we played a total of 6 games, and in those 6 games, Tatum was the leading scorer here once again, averaging nearly a 33-point double-double. Jaylen Brown was averaging 30, 19 from Ricochet, and 17 from Peyton Pritchard. And I believe Ricochet was a huge factor in us winning that championship. He played absolutely amazing. His development has been great. And now that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please make sure to hit that thumbs up button and also subscribe if you're new for more NBA 2K26 rebuilds. And click here on the screen to watch my latest upload. Until next time, it's your boy Dragon, and I'm out. Peace.